So I have this little round window in the second story of my house, and I was thinking that for Halloween it would be great to have a moving skull or a character head of some kind moving in that window. Okay, here's this window on the inside of the house. And as you can see from the shape of the window and these cross pieces, it kind of gets in your way. So when you look out this window, you don't just turn your head right and left. You tend to move your whole head back and forth to get the best view. So if I wanted really lifelike movement for this thing, I was going to need to take that into account with my design. So when I sat down to design this thing, one of the other things I wanted was really smooth movement. And I had made a 3-axis skull before and some other props using the same type of mechanism. But I was never very happy with the movement that I got out of using the little servos. They didn't have enough torque and they tended to be twitchy, and I could just never get the smooth, fluid motion that I wanted out of those. So I started looking at other options. So what I ended up going with is these things from Servo City called servo gearboxes. And what they've done is they've taken a regular servo and they've taken the potentiometer out of the servo and they've mounted it on a second shaft that has bearings, and then they've connected it to the regular servo motor with gears. And you can get these in several different configurations based on how you want to mount it. This one's obviously made to go on a flat surface, but this one can be mounted a number of ways, and you can even buy a end cap that goes on here that allows you to mount it to an aluminum rod. And you can choose what gear ratio you want. I think they offer you choices of 2-to-1 up to 7-to-1. And what this gets you is extremely fine, smooth motion. And it also gives you a tremendous amount of torque. So I ended up using 4 of these on my design. So here's the design I came up with. I ended up using 4 of those servo gearboxes. There's one right here that controls the tilt of the head. And there's one here that rotates the whole thing. And then there's one more that handles the side-to-side tilt of the motor. And then there's one over here that controls moving the entire carriage back and forth on this linear bearing system. And the whole thing is controlled by a Palulu servo board, which is mounted on a circuit board that I made myself, but you don't need that. You could use just the Palulu board yourself, and that'll control up to 6 servos. And here's Mr. Skelly in action. You can see how smooth the movements are. Obviously his head's pointed down most of the time because he's in the second story window looking down to the street. So this is him in position in the window. I've got some black cardboard there to prevent people from down on the street being able to see any of the mechanics of this. And then I've got some aluminum foil down below because I put some lights pointing up at the face, so it lights up really nice. So here is Mr. Skelly operating at night. It's not completely dark, but it's incredibly difficult to take video when it's really dark. So here's what it looks like almost dark. And I've got a white light shining on his face just for the purpose of this video. Normally it's a colored LED light. And this is what it looks like with the colored LED that's constantly changing. This is what it looks like on Halloween. Pretty creepy.